It was the moment so many fans had been waiting for, and yet, when it finally came, it felt heavier than anyone imagined. Christine, standing tall, no longer bending under Kody's shadow, finally found the strength to break free. The air was thick with tension, like the whole room knew the balance of power had shifted. For years, we've watched her struggle, sacrifice, and hold on for the sake of family. But here, in this symbolic courtroom of truth, Christine made her choice clear. She would no longer live under control. She was walking free. But freedom always comes at a cost, and the haunting question still lingers. What about Robyn? For every bold step Christine took, Robyn's presence loomed in the background, quiet but powerful. And fans can't stop asking, is there one final secret Robyn has been holding back? Something that could change the way we see this family story forever? Hi friends, my name is Sophia, and welcome back to TLC's Sister Wives Daily. If you're new here, I share daily updates, honest commentary, and emotional breakdowns of everything happening in the Sister Wives universe. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our deep discussions. And for those of you who have been with me, thank you for sticking with this community. Your comments and insights always make this space more powerful. So, as we dive into Christine's freedom, Kody's exposure, and Robyn's looming secret, I want to know what you think. Do you believe Kody's downfall was inevitable? And do you think Robyn has been hiding something bigger all along? Let's get into it, because this story is about betrayal, financial control, and emotional manipulation. And it's one you won't want to look away from. Christine's journey to this breaking point didn't happen overnight. For years, viewers saw the cracks forming in her marriage with Kody, and those cracks weren't just small disagreements. They were the deep fractures of neglect, favoritism, and control. Back in the earlier seasons of Sister Wives, Christine often played the role of peacemaker, the one trying to keep the family vision alive, even when she herself was hurting. But the truth is, she was never fully seen or valued by Kody. And over time, that became impossible to hide. One of the most unforgettable moments came when Christine finally said she couldn't do marriage with Kody anymore. It wasn't dramatic for the sake of TV. It was raw, real, and painful. She admitted what so many fans had suspected for years. The love and respect between them had been gone for a long time. Christine's honesty was shocking, not because it was new, but because she finally said out loud what had been sitting under the surface for years. And what pushed her there? It wasn't just one argument, though Kody's dismissive attitude about intimacy and commitment certainly played a role. It was the years of feeling like her needs didn't matter, the years of watching Robyn receive special treatment, the years of carrying more than her share of the emotional labor while being made to feel like she was never enough. For Christine, the breaking point was realizing that staying meant teaching her daughters that this was what love looked like, and that was something she could never accept. When she packed her things and made the choice to move away, it was more than just a physical relocation. It was her declaring to the world, and to herself, that she deserved better. That moment of courage resonated deeply with fans, because it wasn't just Christine's story anymore. It became a symbol of every person who has ever stayed too long in a relationship where they weren't valued, and then finally found the strength to walk away. Christine's freedom wasn't about revenge or punishment. It was about reclaiming her voice, her worth, and her future. And in that moment, Kody's control over her shattered, leaving everyone to wonder who would be next to step into their own truth. The tension between Christine and Kody has always felt like a battle for truth. On one side, Christine was finally standing up for her independence. On the other, Kody was scrambling to hold on to control, twisting narratives, and trying to keep the family structure in place on his terms. And if you've followed Sister Wives closely, you know this pattern isn't new. Kody has always had a way of presenting himself as the victim, the one who has been wronged, while brushing off the years of pain his wives have carried. In the episodes leading up to Christine's departure, you could feel the courtroom energy even though there weren't literal walls and a judge. It was like Christine came in with evidence, her lived experiences, her years of being ignored, her exhaustion from trying to please him. And across from her, Kody was armed with his usual defense, long-winded explanations, shifting blame, and insisting that if the family failed, it was because his wives didn't follow his lead. One of the most striking parts of this so-called trial of hearts was how calm Christine stayed. She didn't yell. She didn't try to out-talk him. She simply stood in her truth, saying she was done with a marriage where she felt unloved and unwanted. And in that calmness, she exposed something Kody had tried so hard to hide, the imbalance of power. Fans noticed that every time Kody tried to steer the conversation toward loyalty and obedience, Christine brought it back to the simple truth. Marriage without love isn't marriage at all. That honesty cut through all of his manipulation, leaving him frustrated and defensive. And while he kept trying to make it about family unity, viewers saw through it. This wasn't about unity, it was about contra. Oh, and then there was the favoritism. The elephant in the room that Christine finally said out loud. The way Robyn was always prioritized, the way resources and attention shifted once she entered the picture. Christine dared to speak what so many fans had already seen with their own eyes, and Kody had no real answer. His silence, his anger, his body language, it all spoke louder than words. This was the turning point. Christine's truth became undeniable, and Kody's defenses fell flat. The power dynamic flipped, almost like a gavel had been struck. For the first time, Christine wasn't just surviving under his control. She was exposing it. And that exposure didn't just affect Kody. It sent shockwaves through the entire family. While Christine was finding her strength and walking away, Meri's story was unfolding in a completely different way. And honestly, it's one of the most heartbreaking parts of Sister Wives. Because where Christine found freedom, Meri seemed trapped, stuck in a cycle of hope, loyalty, and quiet suffering. If we go back, Meri was Kody's first wife, the foundation of this whole plural family. For years she stood by him, through every new marriage, every move, every promise of unity. But when the emotional distance between them became impossible to ignore, it was Meri who seemed to lose the most. The catfishing scandal years ago exposed just how lonely she really was. Reaching out online, searching for connection, was a sign of someone who felt unseen in her own home. And instead of rebuilding from that, things only got colder. By the time Christine decided to leave, Meri's role had shifted into something almost invisible. Kody himself admitted that their relationship was nothing more than friendship, that there was no real intimacy left. Hearing those words on national television was devastating, not just for Meri, but for anyone who had followed their story from the beginning. And yet, she stayed. Fans have always been divided about Meri. Some can't understand why she continues to remain attached to a man who has so clearly shut the door on their relationship. Others feel deep empathy, knowing how hard it can be to walk away from decades of history, tradition, and a dream you once believed in. What's undeniable is the sadness in her eyes, the way she seems to cling to the family even when the family no longer clings to her. Christine's boldness made Meri's silence stand out even more. Where Christine spoke her truth, Meri seemed to swallow hers. Where Christine packed her bags, Meri stayed put. And that contrast told us something about the different ways women cope with broken promises. One chose freedom, the other chose endurance. But endurance comes at a cost. Every scene with Meri reminds us of the emotional toll of waiting for someone to change who never will. And in that silence, Meri's struggle became almost as powerful as Christine's courage, a quiet reflection of what happens when love fades, but hope refuses to let go. If Christine's departure exposed Kody's neglect, then Robyn's role in all of this revealed the hidden layers of favoritism and secrecy that tore the family apart. From the moment Robyn entered the picture, the dynamic shifted, and not just a little. Fans noticed it immediately: the extra time, the financial advantages, the emotional energy Kody poured into her relationship above all others. What was supposed to be a plural marriage began to look more and more like a monogamous one, with Robyn at the center. Christine herself said it openly: Robyn was the favorite. And that favoritism wasn't just emotional, it was financial. Kody and Robyn made choices together that seemed to prioritize her household over everyone else's. Properties, family funds, and even decision-making power often leaned in her direction. That left the other wives, Asasata, and their children, feeling sidelined, as though their place in the family was shrinking right before their eyes. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Viewers began speculating that Robyn held more influence than she ever admitted. Was she just the supportive wife caught in the middle? Or was she actively helping to shape Kody's decisions behind the scenes? Some believe her quiet demeanor masks a far stronger role in steering the family's financial future, especially when it comes to Coyote Pass and the legal shifts that change the structure of the family. And then there's the question that still hangs in the air: the secret. Christine hinted at things the audience didn't know. Kody himself grew defensive anytime financial transparency was brought up. And Robyn? She stayed quiet, almost too quiet. Was it just loyalty? Or was there something she didn't want revealed? What makes this moment so powerful is the silence. Robyn's tears, her emotional reactions, contrasted with her refusal to answer direct questions about money, loyalty, and fairness. That silence left fans filling in the blanks themselves, and the theories spread fast. Some think the final secret could be tied to finances. Others believe it's about influence, that Robyn and Kody planned a future that never truly included the other wives. Whatever the case, Christine's departure made one thing undeniable. Robyn wasn't just a wife in this family. She was the turning point. And in many ways, Robyn became the face of both Kody's devotion and the collapse of the plural marriage dream. Her role may have been wrapped in quiet tears and emotional appeals, but beneath that surface, fans sensed a power that shifted everything. When Christine walked away, and the cracks in Kody's relationships with Meri and Janelle became impossible to ignore, the family as we once knew it collapsed in front of our eyes. What started as a bold experiment in unity and faith ended in bitterness, division, and unanswered questions, and now the fallout is impossible to ignore. For Kody, the loss of Christine wasn't just about losing a wife, it was about losing control. His authority, once unquestioned, had been challenged, exposed, and ultimately rejected. And in a family dynamic where loyalty was expected, that rejection sent shockwaves through every relationship he had left. We saw his anger, his desperation, and his inability to admit where he had gone wrong. Instead of self-reflection, Kody doubled down on blame, often turning the spotlight on the wives who left rather than facing his own role in the family's unraveling. For Meri, the fallout was devastating in its silence. She stayed, but for what? Viewers saw her pain deepen as Christine's courage highlighted her own heartbreak. And Janelle, once the steady and logical partner, grew more vocal about her frustrations. It was clear that Christine's departure gave her a glimpse of freedom, too. A reminder that life outside of Kody's control was possible. And then there's Robyn. For her, the fallout meant becoming both the last wife standing and the most scrutinized figure in the family. With Kody's attention fully on her, the dream of plural marriage essentially ended. But with that came a heavy weight: the whispers about favoritism, the questions about financial decisions, and the suspicion that she had quietly benefited from the collapse of the family unit. Robyn's tears may have been real, but to many fans, they also symbolized guilt. Guilt for being at the center of it all. So what comes next? That's the question haunting fans and the family alike. Will Kody finally face accountability, or will he continue to rewrite the narrative to cast himself as the victim? Will Meri ever walk away, choosing her own freedom over loyalty to a broken dream? Will Janelle follow Christine's example and carve out a new path for herself? One thing is certain: Christine's choice changed everything. Her courage set off a chain reaction that cannot be undone. The sister wives story is no longer about unity and plural love. It's about survival, independence, and the messy aftermath of betrayal. And as fans, we can't help but wonder if this is truly the end of the family, or just the beginning of a new chapter defined by secrets finally coming to light. So friends, after everything we've just walked through, Christine's courage, Meri's heartbreak, Janelle's shifting loyalty, and Robyn's secrets hanging heavy in the air, it's clear that the sister wives story has moved into uncharted territory. What was once a family built on the promise of shared faith and trust has now become a cautionary tale about control, manipulation, and the cost of silence. Christine's decision to walk away didn't just free her, it cracked the foundation of the entire family. And in doing so, she gave Meri and Janelle something powerful to think about, whether staying loyal to Kody is worth sacrificing their own happiness. Meanwhile, Robyn's role in all of this is still clouded in mystery. Her tears, her claims of being misunderstood, and her position as Kody's last standing wife leave fans with one question that just won't go away. What else is she holding back? This is where I want to hear from you. Do you believe Robyn is hiding more than she's admitted? Or do you think Kody is the one steering this entire downfall? And what about Meri and Janelle? Should they follow Christine's path? Or do you think they'll continue to hold on to what's left of this family? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I read them all, and I know this community has some of the sharpest takes out there. I'm Sophia, and this has been TLC's Sister Wives Daily. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to keep up with every twist, turn, and shocking revelation, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and keep questioning the stories we're told.